Thank you so much to Khenpo for this extremely interesting and thought-provoking talk. I know I have many, many questions myself percolating in my own mind, and I'm sure all of you do as well. So I see a hand over here, yes.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. First of all, I want to thank you for a lovely talk and for coming here. You emphasize the importance of people developing compassion, and I wanted to ask you what you feel prevents people from developing compassion. What are the roadblocks for developing compassion?
Generating compassion and altruism, it's mainly a mental activity. We should help all beings on this earth who have no one to rely on. There was once a very ordinary woman in Singapore. Throughout her whole life, she helped beings who were suffering. She lived to the age of 113. Her name was Shuje. She said, "The earth is my home, and helping those without support is my responsibility." Even though she was just an ordinary woman, these words are truly moving. Whether human or other beings, everyone wants to be free from suffering and find happiness. So having an altruistic mind is extremely important for all of us.
You are from Larung, Serta. Can you tell me a little bit about how many people there are from the local area and how many from the outside or other parts? And the second question is about the Lhime movement of Tibetan Buddhism. There were no different schools when Buddhism first entered Tibet. It has taken root in Tibet for about 1500 years, and different schools have been initiated since then. Through the Lhime movement, Buddhism has been propagated broadly in the world. But I'm confused about what you discussed earlier. You mentioned 4 major traditions and Bonpo. If we follow the Lhime spirit, since Bonpo does not belong to Buddhism, how should we understand this?
The first question. Right now in our Larung Gar, according to government statistics, the monks and nuns number around 6,000 or more. There are also some people from other places and some who aren't counted in the statistics, because there's a lot of coming and going, especially during Dharma assemblies. Many people gather, but we've never done a real count. That's the first question. The so-called Lhime doesn't mean Nyingma and Gelug or Buddhism and Bon are all the same. What I mean by Lhime is mainly, for example, if I'm Gelugpa, I should uphold the Gelug view. Likewise, those of other schools should uphold their own views, but between the different schools, we shouldn't argue with or exclude one another. I think that's unreasonable. Each school has its own strengths and characteristics. If we grasp this, it's also very necessary for unity within Tibetan communities. It's also very important, whether Bon is Buddhism or not. Historically, there's been a lot of debate. From Buddhism's perspective, those who take refuge in Buddha Shakyamuni are Buddhists. Those who don't take refuge are not Buddhists. Judging whether someone is Buddhist or not mainly depends on whether they've taken refuge, whether Bon is Buddhism. There's also much debate about this. Anyway, historically, the Bon teachings are vast and profound, with many remarkable accomplishments in various fields.
Master, I know you have a Weibo with a huge number of followers, many followers in mainland China. I'd like to ask, what's the reason you have so many followers? And I'd also like to ask, what do you think Weibo means for you, for Tibetan Buddhism, and even for Tibetan people? What kind of impact does it have?
The word fans comes from English. I've also said before, the numbers on Weibo also have a lot of false data. I'm not clear on the specifics. The Buddhist and Tibetan cultural content I post, there really are many people viewing it. A few days ago when I went to Germany, I posted a story about a Tibetan person and it received 14 million views. Even though many people are viewing it, I'm not clear why there are so many. To use the internet and technology to promote such valuable culture is very important. Although on Weibo there is some false data, for me personally, there's no need to do that.
And it's so fascinating. I mean, this is one of the reasons why tonight's talk is so exciting. The idea that we are now in a world of new media, and this is an opportunity to talk with someone who is exploring what new media can do for something that's over 2,000 years old. So it's a really interesting historical and cultural moment that we're at. And I thank you for that question. That's a very interesting question. So who else would like to ask a question?
Yeah.
First, welcome you to come here to speak with us. I've heard in Larung Gar, so many Khenpos such as you and Khenpo Tsultrim Lodro make great efforts to protect and to promote Tibetan culture. I want to thank all of you. Khenpo just mentioned Buddhists should not disparage or repel other religions. In Buddhism, we do not encourage people of other traditions to follow our own tradition. Tibetans' traditional belief is Buddhism. However, today many Tibetans may easily follow other traditions. Such phenomenon exists at home and abroad. So Khenpo, do you have any advice for that, how to avoid such phenomenon and how to protect this kind of people?
You're very right. On one hand, we should understand world trends and both religious and non-religious cultures. An inclusive mindset is very important. On the other hand, as I just said, different schools shouldn't try to control one another. For example, Gelug, Nyingma, and other schools, we shouldn't control one another. Just like in empowerments, when we throw flowers to determine our deity, it's all based on one's own karmic connection. Tibetan young people should preserve their own people's language, script, dress, and customs. We can't let these be assimilated. Holding to one's own path is very important. His Holiness, Jigme Phuntsok's last teaching was, "Don't abandon your own path, don't disturb others' minds." This is an extremely profound teaching. If you know the preciousness of Tibetan culture and the value of Tibetan Buddhism and study it deeply, I think it can never be assimilated. If you don't truly understand it, even if not now, eventually it will be assimilated. Coming to this place, some Tibetans maintain their traditional culture while others have lost their traditions in language and culture. There's no difference from Americans anymore.
So you spoke about secular values of Buddhism, such as compassion, and it seems like a very individual practice. But I'm wondering specifically with the Lhime movement, since it's such a rich history of the process it's taken, and it's a lot about understanding and creating dialogue. And I'm wondering if that could also be a contribution Tibetan Buddhism can make to the modern world in solving very difficult challenges in the secular public life, in terms of war, politics, things like that. So what do you think we can learn from the Lhime movement in the process, not necessarily the content of Buddhism, but rather the process of creating more understanding in the world? Thank you.
Her question is, what does rhyme mean for relations between nations and cultures? In today's era, we advocate a global village, whether economics, politics, or democracy. Basically everything is globalized. Buddhists shouldn't be showing off their realization, but should use various methods to learn more broadly. This is true rhyme. If we can do this, there won't be conflicts or arguments. We can accomplish more meaningful things together. For this life and future lives' happiness, temporary and ultimate happiness, it's very necessary. So I think in the entire world in the 22nd and 23rd centuries to come, rhyme will have an even broader influence.
First of all, thank you, Khenpo Sodargye, for coming here today. My question is, I've heard in Tibet there is a movement among farmers as well as nomads. Because of their belief or other reasons, they are encouraged not to kill animals and not to eat meat. This is very common in Tibet now. We are from Tibet and very familiar with the cold environment there. So if we don't eat meat, is it a benefit or a harm to our health? This is my first question. And also, if we don't kill animals, then indirectly we offer an opportunity to other ethnic groups, such as Muslims, to make money. They buy animals from us and then sell meat back to us at higher prices. It may happen like this. So do you think the movement of not killing animals and not eating meat can help the development of Tibet in the long run or not? What is your opinion? Thank you very much.
She's asking about not eating meat. Many people in the world, even without religious faith, don't eat meat for health reasons. Not eating meat can make the body healthy. Pigs and cows don't eat meat either, yet their bodies are still very strong. Animals carry various diseases that can be transmitted by eating meat. This is a conclusion reached by many famous doctors through research. So I think not eating meat not only causes no harm to the body, but is in fact very beneficial. Modern medicine also talks about this a lot. Whether in Tibetan or Chinese areas, for us monastics, not killing is Buddhism's special virtue. Why? When beings' lives are taken, it's extremely painful. So killing is the heaviest negative action. If our own life were killed, it would also be extremely painful. Also, if we don't kill, does it affect the economy? I don't think so. For example, nowadays dozens of cows are crammed into a single truck and sold off. Many herders become very poor, with neither fields nor cattle. It's truly sad. If we don't kill but raise livestock, we can still maintain our livelihood well. Killing not only makes many herders poor, but also brings great suffering. So from a livelihood perspective, not killing is also very beneficial.
Thank you, Khenpo. My question is about the Lhime movement in Tibet, as well as the existence of different schools. These have existed with a long history. Do you think the Lhime movement, as you just mentioned, is supported by high lamas or tulkus from other schools? And how do the ordinary Tibetans regard Lhime? What will be the future of the Lhime movement in Tibetan Buddhism given the current situation?
Regarding what we call Lhime in Kham and Amdo, most monasteries, monks, lamas and tulkus believe it has great significance in this present age. Nowadays in Kham and other regions, every year in monasteries, Sakya, Nyingma, Kagyu and Bon hold round-table meetings. They exchange ideas on studying Buddhism and Tibetan culture and on how to promote both. Everyone discusses with a Lhime attitude. This is very important. Over 4 or 5 years, many such meetings have been held, and these meetings have all been successful. For ordinary Tibetans, around a monastery, there are many Tibetan people. From Tibetan tradition, what the lamas and sangha support, most Tibetan people will support as well. So there's no disagreement. They feel that revitalizing the Tibetan people's language, script and culture is very meaningful. Of course, there are also a few people who oppose it, but most people are supportive, although we don't know what the future holds. According to the world's development trend, if Lhime thought isn't promoted and we just stay in a small valley in Tibetan areas, we'll be assimilated by other peoples, other cultures and religions. We should hold to our own path and learn from each other. Now the whole world is very open. I think we Tibetans should also move with the times.
I think that's a very that's a lovely place for us to wrap up. Please hold your applause for just a short moment. I'd like to ask that after we've concluded our program for the evening, if people could just stay seated for a few moments, we'll give Khenpo a little bit of a chance to leave. He's worked very hard. We've made him stand up for a long time, and we'll just give him a chance to exit, and then we'll all leave the room. So I want to thank everybody who made this wonderful event possible. I think we all learned a tremendous amount, and it was a very rich and rewarding discussion. And most of all, we'd like to thank Khenpo. Thank you so much, Kachinche. Really so wonderful to have you here.